So here's a video about some sparring entries and some drills to get you kind of used to sparring and get more comfortable in sparring before you get into some live sparring drills. Enjoy.
All right, so previously at Kaizen, we've had everybody kind of sparring at the same time, and I like that because it was like a bit inclusive. I wasn't making you really go through any hoops to be able to spar, just like give a mouthpiece. Do you feel comfortable with sparring? Okay, jump into sparring. But space is a bit limited here. You know, we don't have that much square footage. We're starting to get a pretty big size group here. So I started separating the sparring into two groups, kind of fighters and more competitive sparring, and then more beginner level sparring where it's just sparring drills, getting more comfortable with sparring, learning how to spar, going over some technique, and then a little bit of live at the end there. So. And so I'm able to kind of focus on the beginner level group, slowing things down, going over some specific techniques, and then in the advanced level group where just being more competitive, and a lot of those fighters are in camp and have fights coming up, so there are specific things that I'm looking for their sparring as well. So we're just gonna go over some sparring etiquette and kind of how to get more comfortable in sparring, and then if you're comfortable in sparring, some drills to kind of warm you up prior to sparring. I think that a lot of times gyms or groups would just get together and set a timer, maybe shadow box for a round, and then jump right into sparring. So we're gonna go over some sparring drills and some sparring etiquette that can kind of set the tone for sparring and have you able to get more out of your sparring and bring people along that are kind of maybe a little more uncomfortable with sparring and have them be more comfortable sparring. All right, so I think the first thing you want to do is start drilling back and forth, and just doing a Dutch drill, just to go back and forth with a partner, just to kind of get used to the movement. And now you're starting to throw some offense. They're seeing your punches coming. And even though they're just gonna catch it, it's just a good way for you to get warmed up. So me and Brandon might go, double jab cross back and forth. So our bodies are moving, we're kind of moving around each other. We can kind of start our fight simulation just a little bit, but again, no contact for right now. We're just going back and forth. I might add a kick at the end, so I'll add a switch kick. So now we're tying in one piece of defense with the block. And then we'll add a counter. So now when the switch kick gets blocked, we'll counter cross hook cross. So now we have a piece of defense counter that defense. That's a good way to kind of start getting warmed up. Start drilling, start moving your body. Now you start working your counters as well. And then the next thing I like to do is slowly start going into some defense. So we were just holding for each other. Now we're just going to be defending. And we usually start with the jab. So back and forth, we're just going to defend each other's jab. You can change up the defense. You can do the same defense. Now we'll do the cross. Now we'll do the lead hook. Now we'll start putting some things together. So now we're going to defend the jab cross. Now the cross hook. And you can kind of just carry those through, right? We're starting with some simple boxing. You can add in kicks, you can do things like that. So we're starting holding for each other, getting used to that, and then we're going into some really simple defense. Another drill that I like to get warmed up with is called popcorn. It's a drill where you're going one technique back and forth in close quarters. I got this drill from Gato over at Tampa Muay Thai, and it's a really good way to get warmed up and get people more comfortable exchanging in the pocket. And then some general sparring principles that I like to talk about as we're getting started now. So we've done some drilling, we've done some warming up with some sparring drilling. Now as you're getting into live drilling, one thing I want to make sure that everybody has if they're going live is that they have shin guards, gloves, and if they plan on throwing knees, knee pads, okay? If you don't have knee pads on, we're just not gonna throw knees at all in Kaizen. It just gets a little too sketchy. We don't really wanna go bone on bone, or someone's lowering their level for a takedown and it goes to the head, so definitely want some knee pads if you're gonna be throwing knees. And then some really common principles are like, have it be technical. So you can be competitive and be technical at the same time. And generally I wanna go as hard with somebody as I expect them to go with me, and that can be built up through the round. So the start of the round might be the lightest part of the round, and as you're going through the round, it can get more and more competitive. So the first round might look like this. So, it's competitive enough. We're kind of just touching at first, just kind of getting things warmed up a little more competitive. And then that can step up as the round progresses.
If you're going with someone that you can tell is less experienced than you, maybe bring down the level or focus on your defense more and let them come out of their shell a little bit and experiment more. The last thing that you want is to really shut someone down and make their first couple of sparring experiences really scary and really nerve-wracking for them. You really want them to feel included and like this is something that they can do more of.
All right, I hope you enjoyed that sparring video. Hopefully that it gets people more comfortable getting into these sparring drills before they get into some live sparring. And just take your time with sparring and just get comfortable before you start going hard and competitive.